What is up, YouTube? Dots Gaming here, and today I am back with the next episode of my Veteran Dungeon Guide series, and that is Veteran Hard Mode Darkshade Caverns 1. This dungeon really is not all that difficult. We're kind of moving back again from the difficulty. This one is really not too bad. Darkshade Caverns 2, definitely more difficult, but this dungeon is pretty easy. But because I want to cover all of the dungeons in my Dungeon Guide series, we are making a guide for it today. And just like all my normal guides, I will have the timestamps for the boss fights below. If you are only interested in the boss fights, you can go check those out. But I am still going to walk through the whole dungeon for people who are curious about it and show you guys a full walkthrough of what we did. But I'm sure you guys can see from the length of this video, it's really not too long, so it isn't an overly difficult dungeon. I don't think you guys will have that much trouble with it. Like I said, Darkshade Caverns 2, definitely more challenging. But the big thing with these first couple ad packs is all the same as normal. Don't stand in the AoE. You have a lot of archers putting these oily flame AoEs down on the ground. They're also doing their cold AoEs. A lot of this stuff can be bashed. Just keep an eye out for that indicator on your targets. And it's the same old thing. Tank, do your best to group up the ads so that your DPS can easily take it down, and then just AoE them down. You know, simply put, a lot of these ad packs, like I say in every one of my Dungeon Guide videos, a lot of these ad packs, it's very similar strategies, especially in the non-DLC dungeons or in like before we start getting to the harder dungeons. A lot of the ones early on in the game are pretty basic in terms of just kind of like group them up and knock them down, you know, and don't stand in the fire. It's really the only thing you have to worry about. Once you get to some of the later dungeons in the game, you actually do have mechanics you need to worry about and things that you need to pay attention to and certain things that you have to look out for. But really early on, it isn't bad. It really is not. It's pretty basic. But once we continue, we have a pack of Kwama down here. So again, group them up, AoE them down. And in terms of the bosses for this dungeon, I'll kind of give you guys a little preview, but I think before we get to our first boss, actually our first boss may be up here, just kidding, I'll do that in a second. The first one is Head Shepherd Naloran. Really a very easy boss. He has a couple ads around him, which should be killed first. Besides that, all he really has is like a flame damage projectile attack thing that deals flame damage to anybody if you're caught into it, and if you're not, you won't take any damage. But besides that, that's really not too bad. That's it. She'll heal herself too periodically throughout the fight, but her health pool is so small that it's really nothing you have to worry about. So you can just, as you saw, we very easily walked through her. Nothing to worry about. And we can continue on our way. So we continue to move down the cavern towards more Kwama, and very soon we're already going to be in the room for our next fight, and that's going to be Foreman Lorth. But we still have some ads that we have to kill prior to his fight starting. We have to kill a second pack of Kwama there, and then there's some mobs down here, some more Kwama and some more pit rat thugs and enforcers. So same as normal, don't stand in the AoE, group them up, pull them in if you can, and then just you can see we're able to knock them down extremely quickly once we do that. But you have to kill all the ads in this room before the next boss fight is able to start. So once we finish off this last ad, we have the next boss, like I said, Foreman Lorth. And he's really not too bad either. All he really does is occasionally throughout the fight, he'll run to different locations in the room. And then when he does that, he'll summon some more Kwama ads, which again can be very easily AoE down as long as your tank keeps them grouped up. He also does that big growing AoE that he has, which will deal some damage if you are caught into it. It's really small radius. It's not too bad though, but if you are caught in it, it will get some shock damage dealt to you, and I also believe you will get knocked down. And besides that, he has, as you can see right off to my right, there's like a little poison AoE that he'll drop around the room from time to time. As you can see, yeah, that shock attack did some damage, knocked them down. But he'll put poison AoEs around the room that you just have to simply avoid. But that's it for mechanics. That's really it. He summons some Kwamas after he runs to a new spot and lifts his staff up in the air. He does that big AoE shock thing that will knock you down and deal damage. And then there's the AoE poison puddles around the room. So as long as you don't stand in that, that's all you have to worry about. Very easy fight. Not difficult at all. So we just move through all the mechanics here, and we are so close to killing him. And then we will take him down and then continue down the caverns ahead. So he is taken care of, and we continue up the ramp here, and we continue moving down the caverns. It's just going to be some more Quamas, you know, similar ads to deal with. Really nothing all too crazy. But we continue walking, and see, just about, there's going to be a lot of this. A lot of big packs of Quamas with some of these like Quama warriors, the standing ones. There's going to be a lot of them in the next room because that is what our next boss is going to be. It's going to be something similar to that. So as we continue down, we have another one of these Quama warriors here. And we just simply work through him. These guys really don't have anything to worry about. They're just kind of like something you have to work through. And as again, like I said, you keep moving through. More Quama ads, more Quama warriors. Simply AoE them up, knock them down. Same old, same old, same old. Nothing crazy to worry about. And we just simply take down these last couple. And as you see, there are some dwarven spheres and spiders dead on the ground, which gives some foreshadowing to the later mobs you will see in this dungeon, as well as some foreshadowing to the mobs and monsters you will have to deal with in Darkshade Caverns too. So we simply knock these Quama down, and then we move on to our next boss once we kill this little group up here. And our next boss is going to be the Hive Lord. But before I start talking about him, let's knock the rest of these Quama down and just deal with them. As you can see, simply put AoE them up, knock them down. Same old as every single ad pack. And now we have this boss, the Hive Lord. Another really easy boss. The Hive Lord's big attack, he's a really massive AoE attack where he will just start smashing the ground and dealing large damage around him. And the longer you stand in that, the more damage you'll take. But I'm 98% sure it can be bashed. So as long as you bash it, it will stop that. He also periodically summons ads throughout the fight that you can just simply AoE them up and knock them down really, really quickly. So they won't be a problem. And then he also will do a conal AoE attack, as you saw. And as long as your tank keeps the Hive Lord faced away from the group, it will not be anything that you really have to worry about. It does deal some damage, and because the cone is so wide, it can be hard to avoid. But again, as long as your tank keeps the Hive Lord faced away from the rest of the group, it should never be a mechanic that you guys ever have to deal with. And also, when those Quama are summoned, they do a little bit of AoE damage when they are first summoned, as you saw when that last little pack summoned. There was an AoE attack underneath them. But besides that, that's really all you have to worry about. The next boss is right down here, actually, once we kill these Aelets. The next boss is the Cavern Patriarch. Now, this corresponding boss in Darkshade Caverns 2 is extremely difficult and is a boss that will wipe pug groups. In Darkshade Caverns 1, it's a walk in the freaking park. But in Darkshade Caverns 2, this boss is actually extremely difficult, especially for pickup groups, especially for pickup groups. I have literally wiped and quit dungeons because of this boss. But, you know, if you have like a group that knows what they're doing, it's not all too bad, but it's definitely one of the more stressful bosses in Darkshade Caverns 2. But in Darkshade Caverns 1, literally his only mechanic is he drops a poison AoE attack on the ground that you need to just not stand in, and that is it. That is all he has for Darkshade Caverns 1. I don't think it necessarily does the challenge you'll face in Darkshade Caverns 2 justice, but this is what you are facing for Darkshade Caverns 1. And really all you have to deal with, so as long as you don't stand in the AoE poison, you will be fine. And then we are moving on to the final boss area here. But we walk up here, and there are some Dwarven Spheres and Dwarven Spiders that we kill and deal with. But I start running a little too far ahead. There is actually an extra boss that you can kill if you don't go ahead, and it's where our tank and our other DPS went. As you can see, this is a simple scroll final boss, so as long as you activate the scroll, you will gain access to hard mode on the final boss, the special mechanics you have to do. But if you walk back this way, as you can see, you gain access to an additional boss that can drop some stuff, and I believe that is the Cutting Sphere. The Cutting Sphere will simply deal some AoE damage, and as long as you are not standing in that AoE damage, like you can see the little AoE beneath him, you will be fine. You will not take any damage. Also, the Dwarven Spider ads that you saw prior to the Cutting Sphere need to be dealt with first, but besides that, that is the only mechanic you really have to worry about. But now we're actually going to move on to our final boss here, and that is the Sentinel of Rukgams, I think is the pronunciation. And like I said earlier, this is a simple activate the scroll, get access to hard mode fight. This boss isn't too bad. Not too bad. But, you know, we're gonna go through all the mechanics for you guys and show you how to get it done. So the first thing that you have to do is just kill these couple ads prior to the boss and take care of them first, and then you can finally move on to the Sentinel. So the Sentinel's big thing is that he chases players around and deals a whirlwind damage. So as long as you kite him, if you're the one being chased around, you'll be fine. He also has a conal AoE cleave that as long as you don't stand in, you will be perfectly fine. The tank should just face people away and it will be good. But he also has a lightning charge attack, so he will basically charge up a lightning in one of his fists and start mortaring pools of lightning down on people. So as long as you don't stand in that, you will be perfectly fine. So here you can see the next mechanic, which is the Centurion spiders that come out. And if you get near the Centurion spiders, they will kind of grow this big like shield AoE thing around them, as you can see here. And if the boss touches those, then the boss will be healed. So you just want to keep the boss away from those dwarven spiders to prevent him from getting healed. And as you can see, there is that lightning mortar I was talking about getting shot down. So just simply kite that around, make sure to not stand in it. I even kill one of these dwarven spiders so that the boss cannot stand in it and get healed. Again, big thing to worry about. But besides that, that's really all you need to worry about for this fight. Kite him during the chase. Stay out of the conal AoE, so tank face him away. Watch out for the dwarven spiders because they will heal him if the boss walks into them. And when he's doing the lightning mortar, simply kite those AoEs and don't stand in them and you will be fine. But that is it, though, for this dungeon. That is Veteran Darkshade Caverns 1. So I'm just going to do my little outro here while the rest of this boss fight plays out. So I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by this episode of the Veteran Dungeon Guide series. I know this was a very easy dungeon, but I want to make sure to give every dungeon its own guide, do every single one so that people, no matter what their skill level is, no matter what they may be having trouble on, they have a guide and something to refer to. So I hope if you didn't need this guide, and if you wanted to find out how to beat the bosses in Darkshade Caverns 1, I hope that this did help you out, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you did, I'd appreciate if you smacked a like on it. And for more great ESO content, PvP builds, Black Ops content, and even a little bit of Destiny 2 content, I'd appreciate if you hit that sub button, as well as hit the little bell to make sure that you are always keeping notifications on. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by my video today. As always, I'm Dots Gaming, and I'll see you in the next one.